Have you ever really wondered what's going on inside an artist's head when they create a song? Well, today we're going to do just that. We're diving deep into the story behind one very specific, very cool track by the artist Ryoma Maeda. See, Future Yokai Fiasco isn't just some catchy tune. No, it's a song with a secret, a little Easter egg that Maeda hidden there for his listeners to find. It's almost like an invitation to lean in a little closer and really pay attention. And that secret? It's a ghostly voice, a whisper from his past that's literally woven right into the song. So you gotta ask, why is it there? And what on earth is the childhood story that inspired it? That's the exact mystery we're gonna unpack right now. Okay, so first things first, let's get into the song's absolutely wild core concept, the idea of Japanese monsters, yokai, hitting the dance floor. The whole thing actually started with a pretty simple request. A friend asked Maeda to make a track for their YouTube channel, which is all about introducing people to these folklore creatures. So right from the get-go, that whole yokai theme was baked right into the DNA of the project. So this setup creates this amazing contrast, right? On one side, you've got yokai, we're talking monsters, folklore, stuff that's a little bit spooky. And then on the other side, you've got disco, which is all about groove, the dance floor, and just pure funk. Maeda's big challenge was, how do you smash these two completely different worlds together and make it work? Well, his solution was to aim for a very specific feeling. He wasn't trying to make some dark, scary monster mash, not at all. Instead, what he really wanted was the energy of an anime opening. Bright, super upbeat, and instantly catchy, all layered on top of a classic four-on-the-floor disco beat. So he had his concept down, but how did he actually turn that idea into music? Let's break down his creative process for a minute. Maeda is what you'd call a sound-first kind of creator. He doesn't start with a big story or a page full of lyrics. For him, the process always starts with the foundation, building up the beat and figuring out the chord progression. The melody comes after that, and the lyrics, believe it or not, they're one of the very last pieces of the puzzle to fall into place. And what's really interesting is that he'll be the first to admit that because he didn't have a ton of experience making pure disco, the final track kind of drifted. It ended up having more of a rock feel, in his own words. It's just a perfect example of how making something is often a journey of discovery, not just about executing a perfect plan. All right, so we know the concept, we know the process. Now it's time to circle back to that central mystery, that hidden voice. Yeah, it's this little whisper you can just barely hear in the track, the word senpai, which, if you don't know, is Japanese for an upperclassman or a senior mentor. So where in the world did that come from? Well, the answer lies in a classic schoolyard rumor. Okay, picture this. Maeda is just a kid in elementary school, and this rumor starts spreading like wildfire through his class. It's about this famous song called Friends by the band Rebecca. And the rumor was, if you listened really closely, you could hear a ghost whispering senpai. So naturally, the entire class became completely obsessed, playing the song over and over, all huddled together trying to hear it. But here is the best part, the real twist. Maeda says that while all his classmates were freaking out, totally convinced they heard the ghost, he never heard a thing, not once. He was completely left out of this spooky discovery, and says that even today, he still has no idea where that voice was supposed to be. And this is the real key. His inspiration wasn't the ghost story itself. It was the memory of that shared experience. The fun of everyone leaning in close, listening so intently, and sharing in the excitement of this little mystery. That's the feeling he wanted to recreate for his own listeners. This personal story, it just brilliantly explains Maeda's entire philosophy on making music, especially how he thinks about pop. You see, for him, pop music isn't about being generic or boring. It's about using a familiar, simple structure, like a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, as a solid framework. And then, inside that framework, he can inject his own unique personality and weird ideas, like a ghost voice from a childhood rumor, without making things too complicated for the listener. And at the end of the day, that's his real goal. He wants the song, and its little secret, to take you back. To remind you of that childhood excitement, that feeling of leaning in with your friends to share a discovery. The song isn't just about yokai and disco, it's about the feeling of wonder. So the next time you listen to Future Yokai Fiasco, see if you can find that whisper. And it really leaves us with a fascinating question, doesn't it? If you were making a song, what memory, what sound from your own past would you hide inside it for other people to find?